Good afternoon, everyone. As always, I hope you're searching for the inner light and also accepting it. So allow it to, for yourself to embrace it. Anyways, I want to talk today a little bit about polarity and how I use it and view it. It may be different than how others do it or whatnot, but anyways, polarity. So like when you hear people say, "Man, how do I get myself out of this situation? I'm feeling down. I'm feeling stuck, and I don't know what to do." And one way to do it is to pull yourself out of the emotional state, right? A lot of times for me, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm getting like dragged down into an emotional state or whatever, like one, even a different one that pulls you out of your calmness, your breathing changes. You get mad, you get sad, and all of a sudden, you know. And so I recognize a lot if I can gain control of my breathing and get back into my normal, breathing routine, which is, where you're not even conscious that you're breathing, you're just kind of doing it. It's just, you're calm, you're centered, each breath is even, it's peaceful. It's breathing in peace instead of breathing in all of that negativity. So I usually focus on my breath, but also I focus on immediately polarizing that. So polarization, focusing on the opposite end of that. The way I view things, everything has polar opposites. Like temperature, they're all the same, right? Hot and cold are the same thing, right? But they're both measurements of temperature on opposite ends of the spectrum. So when you think of that, you can pull yourself out of that. And for different people, that's different things. You know what may make me happy may not make you happy. So a thought that I use to pull myself out of a undesired emotional state may not be the same tool that you use. And I always try to use something that's related to that situation, but that is on the opposite end of the spectrum, like such as seeing a silver lining and everything. And sometimes that's hard to do, uh, you know, but I think everything's there to teach us a lesson if we look into the situation deep enough. And sometimes it's not always, I don't know, it's not always desirable, it's not always easy. And I'm not saying you shouldn't feel the emotion, we should feel it, but then transmute it with polarity, by focusing, accepting it for what it is and feeling it and just knowing that there is something to be learned from all experiences, whether they are positive or negative. Everything can teach us something. And so for me, polarity or polarization is the ability to pull yourself out of a downward spiral when you're feeling like everything's lost and out of control. Um, Try to focus on something on the opposite end of that spectrum to pull yourself out. And I make it sound simpler than what it is because, well, I've practiced it a lot. And, one of the main situations I used it in is when I got into a car accident. That was like a year ago. And I had it got totaled. I was on my way to the airport. I was picking my kids up. I was the only one that could pick them up because I was the only one that was on the list to pick them up. So here I am. I'm at a red light. Bam! I didn't even know what the hell hit me. I was like, what the fuck? My first thing was I got out of the car and I'm like, I'm trying to get to the airport, asshole. And the guy's like, I'm sorry. And so I didn't even go into the. I didn't even focus on the car. I looked at the car and I'm like, oh well, it is what it is. And so the first thing I did was call the police, and the second thing I did was I called a friend of mine for a ride. I said, hey, I need a ride. I need to get down to the airport. And so they showed up at the scene of the accident. I got a quick check at the ambulance, and away I went. But my car was totaled. But I focused on the solution, not the problem. So I focused on, boom, well, yeah, my car's totaled, but I can still get to the airport. I can still get my kids. Not all is lost. And so, but had I focused on the car being totaled and all that and losing my car, it would have caused me a lot of unnecessary emotional trauma. And so by focusing on the situation and focusing on the solution to the situation and not the problem itself is how I pulled myself out of that without getting into a downward emotional spiral. So that's my short video on polarity and polarization. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you want to add something, feel free. I just keep everything simple. when I was going to school, one thing that one of my instructors taught me, and I kept it close to my heart, is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And I was always one to overcomplicate things. So I've learned to hold that dear to my heart. So much love and light to you all. Thank you. And again, hopefully you guys found this helpful. Thank you for watching. Much love.